Felistis Jans, surnamed Resinx, burnt at Amsterdam for the testimony of Jesus Christ on the 16th of January in the year 1553. On the same day in the court, and for the same reason also a certain maiden named Felistis Jans, and surnamed Resinx, a native of Rheden in Westphalia, was sentenced to the fire, as appears from the written sentence which we have concerning it, from the original criminal records of the city of Amsterdam, as also the date when she was tortured, all of which we could here adduce verbatim. However, to avoid proximity, we will briefly extract the substance from it, making distinct divisions, so that it may be clearly seen upon what her death was founded. Brief extract from the sentence of death of Felistis, daughter of Jans, or Felistis Resinx. After giving her name and the place of her nativity, there are presented first the accusations with which she was charged, comprised in the following divisions. 1. That she had resorted to the assembly of the sect of the Anabaptists. 2. That she had separated from the obedience and faith of the so-called Holy, that is, the Roman Church. 3. That she had pernicious views with regard to the sacrament of the altar. 4. That she had harbored in her house such persons as she knew to belong to said sect, that is, to the sect of the so-called Anabaptists. 5. That she had seduced several persons from the obedience of the Roman Church to her belief. 6. That she herself obstinately adhered to the aforementioned so-called errors, refusing to abandon them. 7. That all this was contrary to the ordinances of the Most Holy Church and the decrees of His Imperial Majesty. Thereupon follows the conclusion, namely, that for this she should be executed with fire by the executioner, and that all her property should be confiscated or forfeited for the benefit of the emperor. Thus pronounced, etc., as above. Then the time is mentioned when she was tortured, in regard to which these words are found. This Felistis was subjected to the torture or rack on the 2nd of January 1553, extracted from the Book of Criminal Sentences in the keeping of the Secretary of the City of Amsterdam, N.N. Note: the year in which the death of this Felistis occurred was not correctly noted. Footnote: the year 1551 was given. End footnote. By the preceding writers of the history of the martyrs, nor was her full name. Footnote: she was simply called Felistis. End footnote. Given until we, by means of the aforementioned sentence, made the necessary corrections. Besides the above, it is also worthy of note that the old writers state that she was a virtuous and honorable young maiden, and that through her long imprisonment she became so intimate with the jailer's wife that the latter employed her as a maidservant to assist her in the household duties. When it happened upon a time that the jailer's wife had some filth to carry outdoors, but had no one around her whom she could order to do it, Felistis said, "Shall I do it?" Whereupon the jailer's wife replied, "Would you not run away?" Felistis said no, but reflecting a little on the matter and considering the frailness of human intentions, she would not undergo this test and hence declined to do it, which was certainly a good resolution on the part of a seemingly weak young maiden. Shortly after, the old writers state, she was seen coming to the scaffold to be burnt, clearly attired, and having on a white apron, as though by her outward garments she meant to indicate how purely and uprightly a Christian virgin ought to be adorned inwardly, in order to be acceptable before her beloved heavenly bridegroom, Jesus Christ. Thus she offered up her sacrifice and was numbered among the holy and God-pleasing martyrs. Compare this with Martyr's Mirror, edition 1631.